welcome to another episode of Digging with D. Today we are going to get into growing some potatoes. It's early spring, so it's a good time to go ahead and get those potatoes in the ground here in Georgia so that we have a nice kind of an early harvest before summer, and then I'll put some more in, usually sweet potatoes when it gets a little bit warmer out. You can buy starter potatoes, you can buy seed potatoes from Tractor Supply, Home Depot, Lowe's, things like that. Sometimes I get potatoes that sprout. So I bought these a week or two ago, a while back, and I never got around to using them. And so I looked at them, and sure enough, they're sprouting. Yeah. So once they get to sprouting, it means they're going to grow. So around here, if it can grow, we put it in dirt. You want to discard anything that's got any sort of mold on it. We don't want to even try it, even if it is sprouting. But other stuff like this, all right, see, it's sprouting, it's looking good. Right, we can cut that one up. We can use that one. General rule of thumb, you don't want any pieces in there that's going to be any bigger than a golf ball. So we're going to wind up cutting them down a bit. So like I said, I just kind of went through anything that has any sort of mold on it, like so, no, we're going to throw that in the compost bin. It's definitely not going in the ground. But anything else, right, once it starts to sprout, if it's not looking moldy, we're going to go for it. So the potatoes have these kind of eyes on them. And you can cut it down into pieces. Like I said, if it's smaller than a golf ball, I'll plant the whole thing. But if it's not, you just want to kind of you see those different spots where it's got the eyes on it? You can cut them up. Use a nice, clean, sharp knife. And you can cut it so that there's one kind of eye on each piece, right? Like so. And we can plant that just like that, right? There's another one. I could actually have gotten this a little bit smaller if I wanted to. Some people will say that they will leave these out, just to kind of let the scars heal over for a week or so. That's up to you. Sometimes I'll give it a couple of hours so I don't bury it with a fresh cut, and just kind of let those cuts scab over, so you can cut them up like that and just kind of prepare them and leave them for a little bit. Or like I said, if they're small enough, under the size of a golf ball, I can plant the whole thing. So like this one here, it's about the size of a golf ball, maybe a little smaller. I'm just going to go ahead and plant this whole thing. So I went through and I found some small ones. These are going to go into 10-gallon grow bags, but you can definitely do them in 5-gallon grow bags. Of course, you can plant everything into the ground if you've got good soil. I like planting potatoes in grow bags because it really does help with the harvesting. Right, when it's time to harvest, I can just dump the whole thing and get my potatoes instead of trying to dig through the ground, and that's my personal preference. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the bags that I have prepared. I'll show you some potatoes I've already got growing, just so you can get an idea of what the process is. So here I've got a 10-gallon grow bag. I'm going to go ahead and just roll the sides down so you can kind of get a feel for what I'm doing here. I love these bright ones. I got a bunch of bright, colorful grow bags from Amazon. They're just as heavy duty as my usual black ones, but I like the colors in this one. All right, so we've cut up some of our potatoes, left them out for a little bit. Like I said, you can leave them for a day, a week, long enough to let the cuts heal, or you can bury them right away. It's really up to you. I've had good results with both methods personally. All right, so I have my 10-gallon grow bag here. Like I said, in a 2-gallon, you only want to use 2. Since this is 10-gallon, I'm going to go ahead and I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to space them apart as much as possible to give them their room. There's about 6 inches or so, maybe 4 inches or so of dirt in here. And we just kind of bury them a few inches down. Firm them up a bit. And we're going to water them in. And once that's done, you always want to cover them with some mulch. I'm going to be using some straw. You grab some straw. The straw will help them, the mulch will help them retain water. You can use pine bark, pine straw, whatever mulch you got laying around. But you want to give them a couple inches of mulch. I'll give them a little bit more. That's going to keep the water retention in, and we're just going to let that sit, okay, for a couple of weeks. With potatoes, what's going to happen is they're going to start to grow. And I'll show you an example of some that I potted up a couple of weeks ago. You can see I start them kind of low, right? And they're going to grow. This is a different variety. These are Yukons. But as you can see, just even doing 2 or 3 small ones, they get pretty big pretty quickly. So what happens is when they get here, you have to, what we call, hill them up. So once they get here, you're going to take more soil. I always use quality soil for this. And you're going to wind up burying these leaves again. You're going to bury them until all but the top 2 or so are showing. And that's going to help them produce more roots, and they are going to grow more potatoes. So we're going to bury these till only the top 2 leaves are showing, and then they're going to grow some more. And then when they grow more, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add more dirt. And we're going to keep doing that until we run out of space. And once we run out of space, then we'll let them go ahead and continue to grow. Then once everything has grown up completely, after a few months, the foliage will die off. And that's when you'll know that it's time to dump the bag, right? We're going to go right into those top leaves, set them back into the sun. When they grow another 6 to 8 inches or so, we're going to come back and repeat this process. And we're going to keep going and going until it gets to the very top. And then once it gets up there, we're going to wait it out. And eventually all the foliage will start to die back. And that's when we'll know it's time. And we'll dump our bags and our potatoes will be ready. And that's all there is to it. Pretty easy process. I'll just show you some other ones that we've got going in the garden in the back. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, as soon as they get about here, we've got 6 to 8 inches or so of growth. That's when we add more dirt. So just those top leaves are showing. And then we'll just repeat that process. And they're going to grow all the way up. By the end of the season, you'll see these all reach the top. And then it'll be time to dump them. And we'll have our potatoes. All right, they're dying out. It looks like it's about time. Now, you can leave them here for another couple of weeks, but we're going to just dump them out and see how we did. Oh, these were the little honey gold potatoes. That's right, everybody. All right. Same deal. You just shake it out, and you can see them just pop on out of the dirt. Just like that. Got some little itty-bitty babies. There's another one. Yep, there they are. They'll tumble right out. Got to be careful not to damage the skins, because you can use them right away, but you can definitely store them for a good amount of time. Oh, look, there's the one that we started growing. Nothing grew out of this guy. It's okay. We'll toss him. Compost bin, here he comes. Little teeny tiny ones. And then here's some other ones. You see? If we had left these alone, then they would have just continued to grow. Like I said, little smallest ones, we get rid of those. And we try to keep the bigger ones. And the small ones, see, they keep popping out of the dirt there. The small ones, we just leave them again for seeds for next year. Not a bad haul for a few potatoes, cuttings, and some dirt. I think those were freebies, right? That just kind of came off the, they were ones that were just kind of sprouting on the counter. So I took them in and saw what they were doing. I think that's about it from there. But like I said, for some free potatoes that were already on the counter anyway, little dirt, little water, little fertilizer, it was worth it. And so here's our, I think our final haul. We might have one more grow bag of potatoes hanging out somewhere. I'll see if I can get my hands on it, but not a bad haul. Thank you for digging with Dee. Now we've got all this time and space and some empty grow bags and some containers, and we can refresh it with compost and whatnot, and we can grow something else. The season's barely getting started. All right. Thank you for digging with Dee. Don't forget to like and subscribe.